This basement is about to become my new studio. It needs a lot of work, but it's gonna get there. But before I set it up, I've been stuck on this question. Should I own, well, more filmmaking gear, or should I just rent what I need? Now, here's the thing. I don't think there's a perfect answer. I've spent thousands buying gear that I've barely used. I've also rented gear only to realize I needed it all the time. So today, I want to break down the real pros and cons, not just some generic rent versus buy advice, but what I actually want to do is apply to what makes sense in real life based on your workflow. And while we're at it, really, this space right now, it's blank. Just imagine it blank. Right now, it's got these funny panels on it. It's going to just be white drywall, painted, fixed, blank slate. So if you've built a studio, or you're in the process, or you're dreaming about it, drop a comment, hit me up. I want to hear ideas about what I can do with this space. I'm really excited to show the process and hopefully get help from you. There's a reason so many filmmakers feel like they need to own everything. Having your own gear means you can shoot whenever, wherever, without worrying about rental deadlines or any extra costs. It's yours. People like to own things. Now, for me, there have been a few things that I think have just been 100% worth buying. That is my go-to camera and lens, because sometimes you just need to grab a camera and go shoot. For me, let me tell you, when I first started, that was the Panasonic GH5 and a 24 to 7, well, no. It was a different type of, maybe it was a 48 to something, or a 18 to, I don't know. Someone in the comments knows, because I bet you someone in the comments has had a GH5 with a zoom lens that I don't remember the brand. It might have been Panasonic. It was a metal body. Either way, so that was my go-to. I don't think I bought any other lenses besides that main one. Then I moved to the 6K Pro, the Blackmagic 6K Pro, where I bought the 18 to 35, as everyone has with a 1.8. It's an awesome, sharp lens. Then I moved to an FX3 with a 24 to 70. And then I did end up buying the 70 to 200, but that's not the point. I had a go-to lens, a go-to camera. I stayed essential, and then rented the fisheye if I needed, or rented the Mega Zoom if I needed. Any other cine lens I wanted, I would rent. Another go-to item for me that I think is 100% worth buying is one powerful light, or somewhat powerful. Maybe it's 100 watt, 200 watt, and then a softbox. It's just really easy to work with, and then use anything else you can, from shower curtains to window shears to soften your light, or harshen it and shape it in any way you want. But one light is a great start. Renting your main light every time can be a pain, but when you're doing a bigger shoot, you need power. You need 600 to 1200, and I wish I could throw out models, and I'm hoping someone out there can relate in the comments. I'm horrible with remembering these different brands, model numbers, and because they all use different naming nomenclature, and I'm just not good at it. So I'm hoping someone can relate. I'm sure there are people, haters, that want to blast me for always fumbling whenever I'm trying to come up with a name. Now, I will say, if a brand wants to pay me, you better believe I'm gonna have their models, their everything memorized. But I'm not getting paid by any of these filmmaking brands, so I'm sorry, no one brand has my allegiance. They're not paying me, and I'm definitely not gonna remember. By the way, the last thing that's just my opinion is a good stabilizer, meaning a tripod. Gimbal is like, I'm half in, half out with a gimbal. There are certain things, if you know you're getting into, I think wedding video, gimbals belong in wedding video. It's flowy, it's a great way to move around. You can get from place to place, especially if you're a solo shooter and you're capturing a reaction, then you're trying to capture the bride walking down. And I really do think gimbals have a great place in wedding video and many other things as well. It's not necessary all the time, but a tripod, boom, that's going to be used. Those are a couple of my go-tos. I skipped audio. Get yourself a good mic. If you're into buying the stuff, good way to record audio, good way to record video, good way to hold the camera, and a good way to light the scene. Keep it simple. If you're just getting into this is for you. Make sure your gigs are not just paying for you and your time, but they're paying for your gear and then they're paying to upgrade your gear. Then a new gig gets you on a new level. So don't forget that. They got to pay for your gear. They got to pay for you. They got to pay for your time. There's a lot to it. Also, I want to lean in. I am far from perfect on this advice. I have 2 gimbals sitting. I have one actually sitting behind me. That's the DJI RS4 Pro, one of the newer ones. Great, awesome justice. But in here is a Crane 3S. Awesome gimbal. Why do I have 2? Because I'm an idiot. Simple as that. So follow my advice, subscribe. Okay, I'll sell one of them. So the reason I made some of those mistakes is because I used to think renting gear was just throwing away money. Similar to renting an apartment, it just stinks to give the money away every month into something you don't own. But once I started renting more, I realized I was actually saving money, because things like, this is just my decision. I don't really use a fisheye lens too often. I don't go that wide. But when there's a shot I want, a quick rental, it's paid on the job, and it doesn't have to sit on my shelf and lose value. If you're doing all sorts of real estate work for a client, maybe anamorphic lenses aren't for you. I think that kind of makes sense. So that's the thought process here. Now with that, the key takeaway is what? Buying gear only makes sense if you're actually using it. I think that's what it is. Otherwise, renting can save you from gear collecting dust on your shelf. Now, where does this lead us? Is it better to own or rent? Honestly, it depends on the type of work you do. If you shoot weekly for a client, owning your essential kit makes sense. If you shoot, let's say, big budget commercials or film projects, renting high-end gear keeps costs down from all your rentals you're gonna do. And so maybe owning that piece of gear is really gonna make a big step. I think Carlo, he bought a Sony Venice, and I followed his YouTube channel. I don't know how to say his last name. Stigs. He's really cool. Stigliano. Either way, you can check out his YouTube. I will link it. And he talked a lot about his purchasing, his kind of adventure in purchasing the Sony Venice and the work that he does with it. He is a professional DP, incredible at what he does. Seriously, incredible. And his YouTube kind of followed the path of, hey, what it was like to buy it, why he bought it. He shared a lot of videos along with it. I think there's a middle ground, and I think we can learn from each other's choices. All that brings me back to my studio. I've been renting for a long time, and I finally bought this house, and I now have a space that I can build and make my own. Just like building out a gear kit, I want to build this space in a way that's actually useful. It's not just throwing expensive stuff at it just because it looks cool, though you better believe I'm gonna do that. I'd love to be in a studio and feel inspired and create a space that gets me excited to do what I do. If you've built or if you have a studio that you're proud of, hit me up in the comments. I want to hear about it. I want little tips, tricks. I'm trying to figure this out. I want to make it awesome. Let me know what you think about this space. I can't wait to chat with you all in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you could subscribe, that would mean the world. If not, no worries. That's fine too. Have an awesome day. I'll see you later.